driving home from work? Or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm driving home from work and yeah, just making it happen.
I
Making it
appreciate the
happen.
dedication for multitasking. I can't tell you how many times I've done calls in the car driving home or two.
Just find it so convenient, like taking care of my stuff when I'm on the road.
Yeah.
Way I could just, get home and focus on what I got to do at the house. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy
Liza, nice
Thursday.
to see you.
To see you. Missed you guys last week.
And we missed you
How was
too.
your event for work?
It was really good. It was with Arc Digest. It was really nice. Everything went smooth, but it was a late night.
Yeah.
I'm not used to them.
Used to be so good at them, but yeah, I'm not. No, don't. I'll message your fam really quick. I know it's 3 a.m. where he is.
Yeah. And speaking about dedication, I'm always impressed
Yeah.
with him joining the calls at that time.
Love the background today, Lindsay.
Yeah, I switched it up. Usually I'm in my office and we started to set up and I was like, oh, I have to drag a chair in here for Michael. And he's like, let's just do it in his office. So
I like it.
I get the logo and everything.
This was this Christmas or birthday? I
Uh,
got him this
yeah.
logo at some time. I think it was Christmas that I got it for
How'd
him.
you come up with the name?
So I like to find four-leaf clovers. I find every time I go outside, I find four-leaf clovers. literally have thousands and thousands of them. And then the fleur-de-lis is obviously the French aspect and then the key for real estate.
Right,
So
right.
we combined the three together.
I love it. Great.
Right, I texted him. We had a one-on-one on Tuesday, so I'm kind of updated with him. But anyways, I'll text him. We can get started though. Hi everybody. I'm excited for today's call. It's everyone, so many people have things going on. Taylor, are you buying something? Luigi came home one day and said Taylor's buying a property, and I was like, I have not heard about this.
It was my husband. He had found it or before we even started, but they actually just had the inspection report and it's not looking good. So we're probably going to back out.
Oh, okay.
In Kansas City. It was just a single family home, but the inspection report is like questionable.
No deal's better than a bad deal, especially if like the numbers were so before a bad inspection. So
yeah, my husband is pretty like optimistic, and if he's saying like he doesn't feel comfortable, we're like, okay, we're kind of actually a little bit relieved because I feel like speaking with Junko, like with the Burr, and now we're kind of like, oh, let's just maybe a bigger project versus like a single family home. So we're kind of like, oh, good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's okay, but it's fine.
Yeah.
we just had one that we were considering doing a capital raise for, and I don't know, my heart like wasn't into it. And then just this week they texted me saying, hey, we ended up getting the whole thing raised. And we were just talking about this. I was like, I felt like such a relief. I'm like, okay, now I don't have to feel bad saying, I don't quite feel good for this one. So it's good. I'm happy about that too. Everything happens for a reason. So don't go too, just like the 3-unit that we were looking at in Scranton. You can tell that story to the group.
Well, I've carved out time today for us to all kind of go through what we're up to. So we can jump in and then do that. But yes, Taylor, it was just funny because I'm like, no, Taylor would tell me if she was doing it.
If it was like my thing and I found it, but this was with my husband, like he had found it like a month ago and they were kind of back and forth. So I was just like, what? I'm not very proud of it because I actually didn't want it to begin with because it was so old. And I told him, I was like, well, Lauren told me I shouldn't be looking at properties that old. And then it's so funny because the inspection report, and he was like, I'm just doing it. I already had it, whatever. And I was like, okay. And then they were inspecting me. He's like, she was right.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I said that about my mentor so many things. So it's why it's great to be able to have people to call and run by things. So, Jose, did you see my post today? Probably not. But Jose called me and asking about a securities-based line of credit, which we're going to go through today. We're just going to do one slide on it because a lot of people don't know that it exists or it's an option. And it's a really great option if you're trying to get access to capital to buy real estate or whatever it is you're trying to do. Okay, so the agenda today, we're going to do a deal check-in and then just talk a little bit about the self-check-in survey that Lindsay sent yesterday. Then we'll talk about securities-based line of credit. Just one slide. I just want to make sure you are all aware of it. A quick Module 6 review, and then a walkthrough of a 7-unit that actually Jose found this week, just so we can just start getting used to, if we have time, of course, getting used to walking through these types of properties.
It's funny, I heard your voice earlier today, Lauren, from my living room, and I was like, oh, Michael's watching one of Lauren's reels, and I heard security base, and you brought this up. I was like, oh, is this the one today? No, maybe.
Yeah, I've had a lot of questions about it, actually. Jose, you were probably the 4th person who mentioned it to me, so I'm like, I'm going to make a video on this one. So, okay, this is not a book recommendation, it's a podcast recommendation. Sorry, that was an error. But I heard this is a great episode from Jason Hartman, the Creating Wealth Show, his podcast. I want to share this with you if you want to take a screenshot. And first of all, his podcast is great. It's all about real estate. But this particular episode was very interesting because it talked about how the past presidents handled their money. And essentially, the interview was from a wealth manager out of Silicon Valley. But suffice it to say, she said, I've watched a lot of people pass down wealth, and the people who pass down real estate do best. So generationally. So rather than passing down money, passing down real estate to heirs tends to keep it in the family more successfully. So I thought it was a really great episode. So there's part 1 and part 2, but just want to share that. Okay, then I'd like to do a deal check-in. We haven't really done a lot of round robins, and I'd love to start. Then I'd love for you to maybe give an update on the inspection report, the foundation conversation. Today was the day to remove contingencies on the 4-unit that he's had under contract for the past couple of weeks. So do you want to give us an update on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had an inspection last week, and what is the most significant finding is there's a HV the air conditioning issues for one of your unit, and then the one of the foundation this is 1979 house, and then they had a foundation repair back in 2016. And early this year, they had a foundation evaluation, and the foundation contractor recommend additional reinforcement with some kind of piers. So that kind of come to our awareness that there's foundation repair recommendation, and that comes with kind of a high repair cost. That's like $16,000. So we have another independent foundation contractor did evaluation. And then he hadn't given me official report, but based on the conversation, he said he has a different recommendation, and he maybe come up different proposal and quote. So that kind of still made my progression to closing this deal. And so we asked for extension from the seller. So fortunately, seller agreed to have that extension until next Monday. So next few days, I'm gonna hopefully get the foundation report from the new foundation guy, and we're gonna take that knowledge into our negotiation with the seller. So overall, we wanted to ask seller either give us some kind of price cut in our purchasing price, or we just talk to Lauren about whether they can kind of give us a credit closing. So either way, this kind of become some kind of another major issue in terms of closing this deal.
And Michael, do you guys have strong feelings whether you ask for credits at close or price reductions?
It depends. I don't have strong feelings either way. We've done both in the past.
I think one of the advantages with the credit is that you can lower your down payment. So that's what I will go with. Since you already have the contract with a definite price, I will stick with the price and the credit at closing. That's what I will do.
You said that you will recommend use
I will go with the credit, yes. And I would reduce your down payment.
Okay. So the credit is maintaining the purchasing price that right now is 600,000, but ask for credit kind of used for the foundation issues. Okay.
Yeah,
saw
credit
that.
at close.
Yeah, credit.
That's the phrase that you'll use when
Okay.
you tell them.
Credit close. No, Michael, you said that actually can lower the what is it? The
Down payment?
mortgage.
The down payment, yeah, because I'm thinking, so you have to bring what, 25% down?
Right.
So 150. So with the closing cost, but let's say 150 plus closing costs. So you can ask for like what, 16,000? Is it what you said for?
Yeah, that's a possible.
So that'll bring you down your money into 134, right? Versus if you ask for the price reduction, it's gonna be what, 584.
Yeah.
You have to bring 75% of that, which is gonna be more than the 136.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I was telling Zen earlier today when we talked was, look, if it was a $3 million deal and you needed a $500,000 credit at close, like, you know, your property taxes are going to be assessed around the purchase price. So, you know, that's a material difference that you'd want a reduction of price. But in this situation, Michael is absolutely right. May as well ask for a credit to bring down the cash you have to bring to the table.
Okay.
And that's kind of, I mean, to me, it's kind of a technique we have employed an artifice to reduce your down payment, especially when you start in the journey. You don't, I mean, your down payment is limited usually, and that's a way, like along with, for instance, we are this week we're buying a 5-plex next week, and one of the things people don't realize is you have to transfer the security deposit. And so the seller had no lease on the building, and I send them what we call an estoppel. So it's a document that every tenant has to sign to say how much deposit they have given to the seller. Except that in their case, they own the building for only 1 year and they never got the deposit from the previous owner. So now they have to come up with the money that the tenants have stipulated in the document.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot. It's like 2,500, but they were trying to say that it was our problem. And this was from the agent. And this is like a clear law that this is not, it's not on us. It's on the current owner. It's like just ridiculous what some people will try to pull over on you.
Right.
If you're buying a property where they're holding security deposits, they need to transfer the security deposits to you at close.
And they,
so I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is that we're gonna get to the rents are very low. It's a 5 units. We're gonna get $2,700 that they didn't expect to give us, and now it's gonna be off for down payment. So when you add that, when you close, the other technique is to close kind of in the middle of the months where they have to give you back part of the prorated rent.
Yeah.
Actually, the best is to close toward the end of the month, so you get the beginning, because you get a prorated rent. You don't want to especially close on the first because they're not gonna collect the rent for that month. But if you close in the first week of the month, they collect the rents for the months, but they have to prorate that and give that to you at closing. So that's an accumulation of cash between the prorated rent, the prorated security deposit, which technically it's not your money. You're supposed to put it on a separate account, but it's money that comes down off your down payment at closing. And then the third thing is what I said about after the inspection, you can knock off you can get some reduction as a credit when you close instead of reducing the price. Now, one thing you have to account, and I believe you're in Texas, right?
Yes.
So one thing that has to be accounted, I think the taxes are related to your purchase price. So I'm not gonna, you see there's a relations on how much your tax is gonna increase based on how much you purchase, right? But for $16,000, it's not probably gonna change much. So the accumulation of the three things I just said, it's a technique when you don't have much cash, especially at the beginning of your journey, to actually come up with less cash as possible when you close on a deal. On top of eventually having a seller finance of like 10% down payment, for instance. So there's multiple techniques to really come with as less cash as possible. And yeah. So I would, again, for your case, I would just ask for a credit instead of reducing the price.
And this is additional to like the seller's concession. We kind of already made it, that seller already agreed upon.
Seller agreed to a 2% concession, meaning they're going to pay 2% of the buyer commission.
Right. So that's another thing. On top of that, yes, you can ask them to give you a concession for the closing cost. And I think in multifamily, I don't think there is a limit technically, but I think in everything residential, it's probably up to 3%, I believe. So up to your closing cost value. But technically, in commercial, you can ask for more. Now the debate is how legally it can be perceived in terms of taxes and so on. So not going in the detail, but what you said, yeah, it's another way to, again, reduce your down payment.
Yeah, we'll kind of present that idea to my agent, and I'm gonna have some time to discuss about this.
I'm glad they agreed to the extension. Give you more time.
Yeah, that was
Lauren, I'll send a stop agreement to you too. That's another thing we can upload to the website to have too. It's something that a lot of people haven't even heard of that. We actually heard about it on a real estate investing course, the first thing that we did like years and years ago, and you almost never hear about it, but it's really important to have the tenants fill it out. Because they'll even say, one of the questions, are there any issues like with the apartment or anything too? Like the landlord might not always tell you about things that are going wrong too. The tenants sure will. So it's a really important one-page document to give any current tenants in the building before you close.
Right. I mean, it's so important is if you take a distressed properties, you're gonna probably, again, they're probably gonna be on months to months, and that's the case for us. So we
If
want to
they even have a lease.
yeah. So there's no lease for our case. So we want to make sure that when we come in, we are not saying, oh, the rents are not 800, but they're 500, you know, or we gave 3 months deposit. So now we have to, if we don't secure that before we close, there is no legal documents. That's it. Then you're in a battle with the tenant. So that's very important. And indeed, the seller in our case, they did the mistake of not securing the deposit, which is people's money. It's not the sellers or money. So
I just put it in the chat, guys. It's called an estoppel. So
yeah, we'll send and put up on the website, and I can even put it on the email tomorrow follow up just so you guys.
Yeah, Lindsay will include that. Yeah. And if you have any questions on it, since you're in the middle of it, then just let us know. Like I need this right now. Also, I just wanted to ask you too, in front of the group, if there's anything that you feel like you've learned, or has it been a ton that you've learned in the past 2 weeks since because you've been studying real estate for quite a while, but this is your first one under contract, right? As a rental?
Yes.
And is there anything, I mean, what can you say about this process over the past couple of weeks?
So I think the overall what happened to me that helped me kind of learning process is instead of learning just from the book, actually able to apply the concept into the making decision, particularly like getting all the calculation right, and able to do this initial evaluation, kind of tease out certain deals that just doesn't make any sense, and then bring in certain property that potentially work on the paper, and then I think that I will present it to Lindsay and Lauren, have them take a look on this, just have a lot of hand holding, kind of discuss those numbers, and then so that's really helped. I think that really helped me. Instead of just learn by myself, I learn from the group and listen to other student their experience. So this is a definitely eye-opening experience, and And I think that I'll continue doing that. And I started reading a lot of books that you guys recommended. I think that including a lot of the rental, how to be a landlord. So this is a brand new role to me. So that's another thing, kind of from moving from the purchasing like a transaction and finding the deal, evaluating the deal, and then kind of a closing and and then moving on to kind of how to manage the rental property. And then that's another huge aspect. I'm sure that I'm gonna have a lot of questions along the way. So yeah, so basically I think that learning with group and have a real example and able to calculate those numbers and then share with group and then able to kind of help me to making decision. So that's really helped. I think that in terms of the previous all the learning, obviously I've been reading all the books in the past and then listen to podcasts, but after a few while you forget about them all. So this is I think that eventually you had to kind of moving, kind of take a leap of faith with a lot of support and just go with it. I think that's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, great job, Zane. We're proud of you that you took action and you're doing it.
I'd love to do then. Thank you for sharing, and I'd love to now just do a round robin just to get updates from everyone. I know everyone's been in different parts of their process, but maybe Liza, could we start with you? I know you connected with the Clarksville property manager. Were you able to have any conversations yet?
I haven't. We've been going back and forth, but I did connect with Leland today in Florida.
Oh, great.
The two areas that, both Tennessee and Florida, so that are of interest. So we had a really nice, lengthy conversation. And that was really my first conversation with somebody outside of this, about the, so, but it was easy. I felt, the questions, I was prepared. I knew what to ask, and so afterwards, like reflecting on that, I was like, okay, wow, I've certainly in the last 7 weeks, learned a lot. So looking forward to that and seeing what opportunities are there. So that was really like, the first initial contact out. Other than that, I think I'm, lining things up. I don't want to get too kind of paralyzed and, like research and get myself so overwhelmed that, I walk away from all of these things. But, I have joined Bigger Pockets Pro. So finding a lot of great resources there and joining their webinars. And I'm just, kudos to you and Lindsay, because things just make sense and like it. And I'm learning, but at least I have that foundation now. And
it's a new language to learn all
yeah.
this everything.
Yeah.
It's really what we called it, mind shift. It was like, because it really was, we just felt like such a shift in our minds, when we were starting, and then there's no going back ever. It's like,
yeah.
You can't unsee what once you see it.
And even like the Rich Dad podcast now is, they have somebody else hosting it, and it's real estate focused, which is great. So I think all of those steps, I have my documentation that both myself as an individual and my husband are accredited.
You did that. Good
investors.
job. You got
So
the letter.
we have that, and I'm in the process of setting up the equity trust, because Lauren had filled me in on a lot of my cash is tied up in IRA, Roth IRA, or 401k, and just, when you speak to my financial advisors at those banks or wherever, it's can't touch it. Nope. And that, through a third party equity trust, that I'm able to draw from that, so that when something comes up, I'm in a position. Because I know we've spoken about my apartment, and that's really where most of my cash will come from for investing, but the market's a little, want to see how things net out, and we'll approach the current tenants first and foremost, see if they're interested in buying. If not, I think within the next few months, we'll list that and put it on the market. But either way, just even for a first, whether it's, probably a single family, the initial, I just want to get set up with equity trust and at least draw from one of those other accounts so I can move quickly and not wait
Good to
for
know
the
your
sale.
options.
Yeah.
So when you're ready to pull the trigger. We've talked to a couple of the people in this group this week about start talking to banks and getting your options lined up so that you can pull the trigger quickly when you do find something that's good.
Yeah, because it might be a quick sale of the apartment or maybe take a little longer. So just so I know I have access to another, cash source
I
there.
think I told
So,
you when I told my tenant we were gonna sell it. I mean, I was shocked that she was like, I'll buy it. I was like, oh
Yeah.
God, okay. And I'll buy it with cash. I'm like, oh Jesus. So 25 days later it was closed. I'm like, well, that
Yeah.
was way easier than I thought. So yeah, you just don't know what your tenants are gonna come back at you with.
Yeah, I figure in the next week, hopefully there'll be a little news on interest rates and they'll be in a better mindset or a good mindset and it'll be the right opportunity. So, but yep, have a backup plan, should something happen now. Want to connect with that property manager in Clarksville. And then also look, just looking at a few different neighborhoods, the more I learn about that, just exploring some others like Columbia and a few other places in Tennessee, just who's more in the tornado path, who's out of it. So, just some of these things that I'm learning along the way and picking up. So in the past couple of weeks, lining things up, their emotion, but not to the point that I actually found a property, but feel really confident with Leland and his ability. So he's a real estate agent, right? He's a real estate
Yes.
broker.
He's an
And
agent and a property manager.
property
Yeah,
manager.
he just knows his numbers like
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
it's
kind of
funny.
what kind of property are you selling?
In the city, it's an apartment. It's a condo
in New
Okay.
York City.
in New York City.
All right.
So that was the one I've had, so much trouble with, pulling out. That's when I learned you can't get a HELOC on an investment property in New York City or New York State. I can't recall which one, but so there's a lot of equity tied up in that. And there's no love lost. I'm ready to let it go. I just,
It's good. There's no emotions. Cut the ties.
no, yeah, there's not. Knowing what I can do with what I pull out of that, especially now I'm
Much bigger return on investment from other things with that money.
absolutely. So, yeah, so that's it. A lot of stuff is lined up and now it's about finding that. And I think where my head's at right now would be, single family. If there's a two family or, like a two-door something, or depending on the opportunity, but I think that's where I would start. But also, I know, Lauren, I'm gonna see you in New York, in November, but.
I'll be there too. So we get to be.
Lindsay's
Okay.
there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Michael.
Also interested in joint ventures or, opportunities there as well.
Yeah,
So.
that'll be the place to meet. It's in New York City for anyone who is interested in investing in doing joint ventures or invested passively. Lindsay and I with our group will be there on November 9th.
Oh, and I still have to look for places
Saturday.
if you haven't
Saturday,
found one.
November
I have to look for places.
Oh
where
yes, I have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
On my
But
list.
yes, we'll touch base on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, okay. And then Taylor, other than the old single family that you think you're going to cancel, are there any other updates you want to provide?
That was kind of the only thing somewhat exciting, but then I guess it's a no-go. But we're just getting our money. We're talking to our lender about getting our HELOC, so just getting all of everything, just being ready. So I'm sending all the documents this week. It was like a lot of documents. I didn't know that you needed so many documents for a HELOC. But our equity is just sitting, so we're just getting ready for our next thing.
My friend is a mortgage, well, she writes mortgages, and she said all she's doing right now is HELOCs. So yeah.
Like the difference between a HELOC and a HE loan right now. And he said actually like the HE loan is possibly like a better rate.
It's not where they share in the equity, is it?
No. It's
Okay.
he was explaining it to me and like how the HELOC varies, but the HELOAN, the rate is actually lower right now.
Okay, I'm embarrassed to say I do not know what that is.
I
Do you
didn't,
guys know what that is?
I wish I could tell you guys more, but he was explaining, he goes, in your case right now, a HELOAN is better than a HELOC.
All right, well, you taught me something.
Well, get a second opinion. Tell me your lender is telling you differently, but
That's a new term for all of us. Michael's like, HELOAN. He's like looking at me like,
yeah, I never heard of it either. But he says that right now a lot of people are doing HELOANs versus the HELOC.
HELOAN, not ELOAN.
I would like to add something because previously I have a HELOC, and HELOC, they only provide you the line of credit, they do not provide you the cash, whereas HELoan, they can loan you the money, that's the difference.
It's a fixed rate. So the HELOC is a line of credit. HELoan is a fixed amount and a fixed rate. So
and that makes sense. If your HELOC's gonna maybe be fixed for a certain period of time and then variable after that, the HELoan, I mean, that makes sense that it would be more fixed and the money in your pocket right away. So.
negatively, it's like if you're going to use the money right away and you don't need the line of credit, the HELoan is probably better. I guess it just
so basically, yeah, if you do a HELoan, then you'd have to like they automatically give you the money right away. So the HELOC, because we have HELOCs on a lot of properties, and it's just there if we need it. So that's the difference. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're getting everything lined up because that's what you need.
Junko and I were, she could tell you more about it because she did all the hard work, but you could tell her about it.
All right, Junko, you're up.
So I feel like I learned, just a crazy amount of information and like from 7 weeks ago, the amount of knowledge that I have, and I still have so much to learn, but the amount of knowledge that I learned in this, multifamily investment, from like how to kind of analyze, like it's just like so much. And so I found like a two property, and then the first one, Lauren was kind of like guiding me through, and I found a realtor, and I was going to see the property, and it was sold, and I was kind of sad. Then I was like, also like realized like, okay, that property was $500,000, and then realized like, okay, I can't really afford it. So then it's like almost like a reality check that, okay, so how much property like I can afford? So then, all right, so I'm gonna just really lower down the, price that I'm gonna be looking for. Then like I ended up to this after like I talked to, I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago, I changed the market, and I changed to like a Scranton area, PA, which Lindsay, you guys are living, close by. And I realized, wow, there's actually so much potential that I am calculating and then I see. And now I found like one property, like about $100,000, very distressed. And I wasn't sure. I was looking, I was like, let me just calculate. And then I wasn't sure if my calculation was right, but like looks like it's great if I do it right.
Her quote was
like,
it has to be too good to be true.
Right. And then I was like, but this must be something is wrong that I'm looking at. So then I wanted to get reassurance from you guys. So then I reached out to Lindsay, and I was like, I think I'm doing something wrong. Maybe my focus is maybe really wrong. So you just tell me if I'm doing something really wrong, but I feel like this is good. And then, so I had a call with her, and she's like, okay, I think this is, something that we do. Then that gave me more like reassurance that like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And like I think that like one thing that I'm really getting from this program is like really pushing, like, because I'm really scared. This is like really new, everything is new. Like, my knowledge level was like really zero. And so last Saturday, I think I talked to Lindsay and I said, okay, I'm gonna reach out to a realtor later. And she's like, no, do this now.
That is Lindsay, by
Like,
the way.
we're gonna get off the
That
phone
is,
and you're gonna contact
yeah.
them now. I know
So
it's
you're gonna,
and it's gonna
yeah.
go quick, so.
And it's just like, you're gonna call a realtor now after we hang up the phone. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna do that. So then I reached out I'm like stuttering with like I just really didn't know. I just wanted to say I want to see this, property, and she was nice. So then after that, okay, I did it, and I got like super nervous. Then, I reached out to Taylor because we have been talking. Another thing that from this program, I feel like I met really amazing people. I reach out to Taylor because, we do both ER nurse, and we did both syndication deal, the same syndication deal. So I was kind of reaching out to Taylor, say, hey, I'm really beginner, I'm just really nervous, everything. Maybe one day we can do something together. And then so that's kind of how we started to talk. So I told her about this deal. Hey, I don't know, this is maybe might be crazy. It's really not pushing, but if you are interested in like based on my calculation, like I feel like this is a great deal. And I'm going to see the property decided, which ended up it was sold yesterday.
Not to,
Uh
not to,
yeah,
so
and then
to
I got so
to catch Michael up, it's a 3-unit in the hill section of Scranton, which is a nicer one. It's right aside the hospital. So that's why I was like, I know this section, like, yeah, this is a crappy property, but this is what Michael and I do, and it's in a very nice section of Scranton. Like, this is a good deal, and yeah, I'm not surprised it sold for cash pretty quickly.
I know, and then I was so excited, and then so I like texted Tyler right away, like Tyler, this property is sold. I'm so sad. And then the next day I texted Lindsay, and then I'm so sad. And then Lindsay said, of course, cut up, emotion. You have to remove your emotion, And I was like, oh my God, I need to work on that. So I'm like so sad right now. But
Yeah,
like I
it
do,
just, but the more you understand and know, the quicker you'll be able to move. So every
yeah,
one of these is meant to be like, it just reminds you. So it's
yeah.
all good.
And
So
same thing,
like I
that's
do
why I
feel
said to
like,
reach out to the bank and get your, personal financial statement. Same thing with like know where you stand so you can pull the trigger quicker, next time. Because again, this is one deal. It was on the market for what, like a day or a couple hours when you found it, and it sold within a week. There are more deals like that. You can do a direct mail campaign out in Scranton and find these own deals yourself without them being, on market. There are plenty of deals to find. You guys have only been in this course for 7 weeks. Like, real estate is not a get rich quick overnight. This is the long game. Like, Michael and I have been in this for years. We're not stopping anytime soon, God willing. So emotions aside, you will find more.
oh my gosh. But like truly, I do feel like, from this program, like we have a two mom, really, like two mom, three, actually, three parents, and then like really kind of like pushing us. And I'm asking Taylor, like my sister, hey, do you want to come with me? Like I'm a little
I
nervous.
love that analogy.
And then like, like I feel like every step I do, like I actually needed to push because because this is so uncomfortable, and at the end, like, I've been working as a nurse for a while. So like I haven't felt this way for a long time. So like it's so uncomfortable. Like,
Zan
today
sent
I
an
talked
email to us saying he feels like he's in residency again, or he's like a whole new learning curve. And my
totally.
husband felt the same way. Like, I already went through residency. Why am I doing this again?
Why
I
am I
know.
learning more?
Yeah.
And today I called lender, and then like, I called and hi, and then like kind of like post, hey, like I need the money, but like I just don't know what to say. But like the person was really nice, kind of talking me through. But like every step, I needed to have some support, and I pushed, and I feel like I was getting it, and I feel like continuation. I probably through this journey, I think probably I need that until I actually make it happen. But I really do feel like I learned so much already.
Love it. I'm so glad.
Again, we're only 7 weeks in. We have another week, and I don't want anybody here to think that like next week you're just done. Like, we're not going to answer emails or respond to you guys. Like, we are here for you guys. Please keep asking. Again, it's not an overnight thing. This is going to be the long game. So we are here for all of you for the foreseeable future. So
I mean, the first deal is the hardest.
it is. You'll hear that time and time
the
again.
pressure that you feel right now, it's normal.
Yep.
And you don't have to think you have to go big right away. Our first properties were $2,500 each,
They were shit shows. Yeah.
And what we're thinking was, if we don't make it, we lose what, $25,000 at a time. This is not much. So if you are not confident and there's still a lot of things that.
But we didn't have mentors then either. Like, we were doing it on our
we
own.
didn't have mentors. So just start small with, I mean, that triplex, it's Scranton. The first things I'm thinking when you say 100K, it's okay, $33,000 per unit.
And it's the
I know in
hillside
your
shade,
market, it's nothing. So like rehab, I would say it's probably $300,000. So you have $200,000 to bring the place back to life. You know, you can do a lot of things with $200,000. Right.
Yeah, that's why I said the Junko. Yeah,
So
175. Yeah.
So the other thing that I want to say is that maybe you want to focus on, so you have that first experience with Scranton, you kind of got the first feeling of how much things can cost. So I would say what I do every day, almost every night when Lindsay goes to bed, I go on the computer and we try to buy off market, but I'm on Zillow looking at what's going on. And I'm trying to figure out the price per unit. Does it make sense or not? And sometime you're gonna see, wow, that thing is strange. It's like everything is at $80,000 a unit, and these things come up at 55. What's going on?
The seller just could be super motivated, distressed that they want to offload it. The agent, like this one guy we're working with, different one, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Excuse my language, but like you never know. So the one that we're closing on next week, this is the first time we bought an on market thing in ages. So there are deals that you can find on market.
And the thing is that obviously when you don't really know the market, you can't catch those deals.
Yeah.
And those deals, they stay on the market for 3 days and that's it.
Well, like Junko saw, it was less than a week, it's gone.
So you gotta be ready for it. But obviously when you're a beginner, you don't really know if it's gonna be, you have the pressure of, do I make a mistake? Is there something I'm not seeing? And that's the problem. The 5plex we're buying next week, it has been on the market for a while, but the marketing was horrible. They didn't put any pictures of the units. And really quickly, I went in February, someone put it under contract, a wholesaler, ended up not having the cash to close. And then the tenants, I heard going back to the realtor 3 months after, she was telling me, the tenants are giving me a hard time to show the place. So what comes to my mind now? Well, there's not many people that are gonna be able to come inside and see and make an offer. So I had an advantage comparing to anyone else. So I negotiated the price. That's the property on market, but bad marketing.
We got a huge discount from it too.
So you got to take advantage of those kind of opportunities that are kind of hidden gem that, again, not well marketed or sometimes you see a listing with there's not even a picture, it's just the price.
Like Bill Gilroy's.
And then you go to them and they are not getting, so the seller is not getting any leads from the realtor, and at some point 3 months, 4 months down the road, is like he start to realize that maybe his price is not correct and you're the only one that reach out, and then you're in a position like enough market deal where you can negotiate heavily. And since you're the only one talking to him, well, you don't have competition. So there's so many opportunities, especially with the listing that have been on market for 300 days or 250 days. So don't be scared by those.
There's another one that 60 unit that I've mentioned the last 2 weeks too. He has the seller. That one's off market, but he has some that are on market. There's 2 7 units, a 6 unit, a 5 unit. And the agent that he has, his name is Joe. Joe has one picture of each of these multifamilies up, and there's no description. I don't even know why this guy is using that agent. And the agent answers 1 out of every 10 messages I send him. These are some of the agents that people are dealing with. This is why the people aren't selling the property. It's because they have shit agents. They're not doing good marketing for whatever reason. So you can find opportunities, but you have to be actively looking is the end of that story, I guess.
And I mean, you said taking action, you get scared to call that agent the first time, but maybe that agent on the call say, hey, by the way, you know what, there's something else that I'm about to list, it's kind of similar. Do you want to see it? So through that phone call on one property, you get a lead on something else. So taking action is, it's just the start of opportunities, and
it gets much easier the more you do it, Junko. You'll be good.
Again, I truly, yes, because so the data you told me, okay, call realtor right now. So then I call. And then the person, actually, I talked to her today. She says, so I kind of introduced myself finally, like, I'm a really beginner, but I have very knowledgeable mentor. And then I'm just trying to make this happen. And then ended up like, she also said like, oh, I also have a mentorship that I'm going through and this is great,
Oh, that's nice.
And she said like, come to the meetup, in Scranton. And so I actually signed up for the meetup
It's
26.
with Q Tran.
Camilla, what's the agent name?
Her name is Kelly Jacoby.
Okay, we probably know the one in Scranton. It's probably Q Tran and her partner. Well, when is it? We can come to that one. We can come see you, Jungle.
Really?
Yeah.
So the meetup is in Scranton. I think it's in the downtown on September 26th at
Wow.
6 p.m.
Yeah, again, I would encourage you to be connected with the realtor. The fiveplex, the girl, now that she understands we can close on the deal,
Yeah.
and they got burned by a wholesaler
Yeah.
that could not close.
Yeah.
And like now we're about to close. Last week she get back to me and she said, oh, there's that property in West Pittston. I don't have it on the market yet. I'm gonna go see it, but it's a fourplex. Here the address. What do you think about it? So she asked me, she doesn't have it on their contract. She asked me what I'm thinking of it.
Yeah.
So you're like starting to create that
Yeah.
a pocket listing access
Yeah.
that you don't have any competition there.
So similar, like Lauren and I were about to go into a deal with Chris Jackson. It's a 60 unit in Kansas City. He got that deal as basically an off-market listing because they knew that Chris and Sharpline, and us could close on the deal. So that becomes a reputation. Again, that takes time. It's not an overnight success, but your name becomes known as you start to do more and more deals. And like Michael said, the first deal is the hardest. So please don't be discouraged, anybody.
And one
No,
thing
I think I'm encouraged now. Like I think the more I actually make the step, actually I feel like accomplished one at a time, but like I do feel better. And I told the realtor that I'm actually looking for distressed house, but like really cheap, but in a good neighborhood.
I mean, one thing that I would suggest all you guys to do is, first of all, try to give them a description of what you're looking for. And when they show you a property and you do your underwriting and the numbers don't make sense for you, give them the feedback. I wrote a large email. I explained what I see, how I underwrite, and why it doesn't make sense. And that feedback, they understand that, okay, now you're not just a random guy trying to buy something, but you're able to come up to them and say, hey, that deal doesn't make sense. The price is not right because of this or that. The comparables or the cap rates that they're asking is not in line with the market. So I think the realtor appreciate that you give that feedback loop, so I encourage you, even if you see something that doesn't make sense, give them the feedback why it doesn't make sense to you. And they're gonna respect you for that, and they're gonna get back to you. They're gonna think about it, not just you, the person that visited and then ghost them, So because at the end of the day, they want repeat business. For them, it's easier to sell a pocket listing instead of putting on the market and show it to 10 different potential buyers. So yeah, it's only economy, but
I love it. Thank you for sharing. That's great. Irfan, you're up next. I just want to say I had a one-on-one this week, with Irfan, and one of the special things about where he's at right now is that he's, as you guys know, he's in Kuwait, but he is away from his family for the next couple of months. Not that that's the good part, but he's away from his children and his wife, so he has more time, more capacity than he will when he gets home in November. So he's at this just really great time where he can actually devote time to learning and becoming an expert and drilling down on his location and everything, such that when he gets back in November, he can hit the ground running. So I think for those of us who have kids, we all know how
I just said to Michael,
our time gets truncated down to God.
I just put it on mute and I said to Michael, I wish I had that time.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So he's in just a really special, good, but we all know I'm not saying it's good to be away from
Yeah.
family. You know what I mean? It's just a wow, like to be able to devote the next couple of months to learning is pretty great. But go ahead, Irvin. I just wanted to say that I figured after our call on Tuesday, I was very excited for you.
Thank you, thank you. You know, all these since we're taking this class with you guys, it's all learning, you know, and adding more skills, empowering myself, and you know, and talking to you a couple of days back, you know, the purpose is to get into the execution steps, you know. That's all we're looking for, because we try to, you know, we can read as many books as we can, but if we do not have a right mentors, we end up becoming analysis paralysis, you know. What the good thing about having the right mentor with the right mindset, it gives us the shortcut towards your wisdom and your experience to go and just hit the execution button, you know, press the execution button. And that the confidence would trickle down from Michael, Lauren, and Lindsay. With that's trickle down, whatever you have achieved, you trickle down to us, you know. And that's what happens, and that's what we are trying to in. And all this confidence and a right mindset is kind of very infectious, and it we carry on, you know. If we are sitting with the right mindset people, we carry on with us, you know, to become more successful. And that is the main purpose, you know, to learn the right steps so we can execute in the right way, so we can, rather than lose time and money, we can start making money right away. And in my case, I'm still about 2 months away from my coming back to my to Houston, you know. I'm still learning, so I'm very limited in terms of access of internet and the tools I can access from here. But definitely, you know, I'm learning on you know, a few things right now. i'm working on I'm working on underwriting things, so when I will be back home, I can run as many properties, you know, and find the right property to invest with, you know. And that's the plan right now. That's my execution plan. Start small, because that's where I can really unleash my potential when I'm going to step in buying my first property. You know, that's what really unleashed my potential of into the business. You know, and that's pretty much that's, you know, no matter whatever we learn from books and sessions, once we will buy the property, that's pretty much, you know, it opens a very new horizon onto us. You know. And definitely we're going to have much more question, you know, after that for Lindsay and for Laura and for Michael, definitely. But it comes there ups and downs as well when we buy our first property. Yeah, I'm definitely looking into, you know, learning on the way, and looking into buying my first property. But it's going to be, might be end of the year or start of next year, definitely, you know, when I will be back. But, you know, one more thing I would like to, since, you know, if you have a question for both of you, Lauren and Lindsay and Michael, if you have a cash, you know, have a good amount of cash sitting on where you can, rather than buying and rehabbing a property, what do you think? It's better to buy a B class property and buy straight up with a good price and start getting returns on it. That's a good way of doing it, rather than distressed properties, you know, looking for distressed properties.
It depends on if you have, you know, a team in place. If you're buying a distressed property, you want to make sure you've got the team in place, meaning the contractors, management, et cetera, to help you with the rehab and get it rent ready, et cetera. If it's not something you have and you have a decent amount of cash that you'd rather, you know, just plant the money in and then, you know, get your distributions over time and have it appreciate, that's fine too. And I think that's, you know, what Zan is planning on with his 4 unit that he's buying. So if that's something that you feel more comfortable doing, then, you know, do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely very personable and changes from person to person. But if
No,
I mean, we do the heavy lift, so it's a lot of work.
no, I think Lauren, you made a good point. I mean, if you're looking at C class or D class that you want to do major rehab, yeah, you have to have the team, the experience, and so on. And the thing too is to me right now, I'm buying more like a B class or like A class neighborhood, a C class asset in a class neighborhood, because the C class are expensive right now. It's hard to get good deals on C classes. So to me right now in my market, there's more value in buying. Again, I'm focusing on the location more than, and then maybe it's part of our journey too, you know. But if you don't have that much time, but you have the cash, you probably want to go for like something that
because
you
yeah, Michael, go ahead.
Now, so again, if you have the cash but not really the time, I will go whether go in a partnership syndication where you're just passive and kind of learning from the whole, you keep learning while you have your money working for you, or you go to nicer assets where maybe the returns are not going to be, I mean, in terms of cash on cash, not going to be very high at the beginning, but are more secure assets than C class, where it's going to ask more for your time and your presence, and you having again maybe more knowledge and the team of like contractors or whatever that or just maintenance people to take care of it, you know. And it also depends on the scale of the properties you're looking to buy, but yeah, so.
But looking at what we are trying to achieve as a beginner, what we are trying to achieve, we try to get as much knowledge and experience. Let's do without putting a lot of cash in it. Let's suppose not go with burp strategy. You know, that's where we're going to learn. But as we progress, we make more, starting more money. The end goal is always a cash flow, right? That's the always the end goal of being into real estate for everyone, right?
I wouldn't say everyone. You know, if you're sitting on, a lot of people use real estate for capital preservation. So I think for me, for us, listen, I think everyone on this call, cash flow is important to us because we're looking to replace active income or at least, offset some active income. If you're sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars, I know people buying duplexes for $2 million in LA because they just need capital preservation. They just need to not lose money. And
to me, the goal of initially getting into real estate was to have my passive income pay for our lifestyle, so that if something happened at my job, the cash flow from a real estate could pay for our lifestyle. That was the immediate goal. But then, you know, after a while, again, not overnight, but after years, then you get to the point where it's like, okay, now we're looking at nicer properties in nicer areas. And then it's the growing the equity and again, the tax preservation, wealth preservation, and going on to the next generation too. So ideally you want to keep leveling up as you get further and further, but
you know, because that's the way my brain works. I try to reverse engineer. I keep asking me the question, what is the initial goal to learn, to experience? And in the meanwhile, you know, cash flow, you know, replace my income, what I'm making right now. But in a long term, how long I have to hold this property? Let's suppose I'm buying an apartment complex, which is already 40 years old. I need to hold it for 10 more years before I think it's not adding more value, and I have to repeat and I start looking to take out the money from that apartment complex or a single family, whatever, and try to reinvest somewhere where it can make more money. I'm just trying to reverse engineer. I'm looking into the steps right now. BRB is more appropriate, where I'm going to learn, where I'm going to get more cash flow. And then the second step is just look for a cash flow, you know, more in putting my cash and start getting cash flow. And the third step, I was thinking about it, how to do it, you know, how long I have to hold this property. How long would you consider holding a property after you think the lifetime of the property, you know, it's close to the end, we should get rid of and move on, move over cash somewhere else?
So, I mean, first of all, it's two awesome questions and two very complicated answers because again, it depends, as Lauren said, it depends where you are in your life, how much, if you have multi-million dollars in your bank account, you're going to have a very different strategy than if you have, you know, let's say 50K and you're trying to maybe improve your monthly cash flow, yes, versus you're trying to protect your wealth. For us now, we started focusing on cash flow, and now we are more using real estate as a tax shelter. So that's part of it. And the second question you had is, we thought we would hold our properties forever, and now we are like slowly selling our D class and C class item to buy nicer locations.
We have a four unit we're about to probably put in the market.
Because
Yeah.
our strategy is not so much focused on cash flow, but it's trying to offset their salary, for instance. So it's more like a tax strategy. So we're more focusing on depreciation, getting cost segregation the year one, so we can offset some of our earn income. So the strategy evolve. And
I was gonna say, I think it's a good
Definitely.
thing to, number one, reverse engineer. I mean, you'll hear very successful people think about what's the end goal and what are the steps to get you there. So the reverse engineering, I love it. However, I bet like this conversation today on September 12th, 2024, it's going to be different than your goals in 3 years from now, right? Assuming
Absolutely.
you do real estate and you start to level up. It's like a ladder. You know, I was listening to a podcast just yesterday about creativity and how each rung of a ladder, the next step is not revealed until you get to that next rung up, right? So things are going to change as you get more successful and develop your strategy. So like Michael said, it's a very complicated question to answer, but I think a lot of people and us initially, our initial goal was the cash flow, because I mean, we've said it in this course, right? Passive income greater than lifestyle, that's financial freedom, right? So that's kind of the main base of, I think, what many investors and what we want to get across in this course is about too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what really happens when you do, because I keep asking questions to myself and writing down, so reverse engineer, so I can just focus on the thing what I need to achieve right now. Where you said the tax credit and all that, definitely when you start making that amount of money, that's the later on in the after 5 years or 10 years, whatever your goals is. And that's what, I'm trying to looking into it. And I was talking to Lauren like a few days back. I was trying to strategize, start with just get go and buy my first thing with BRR, strategy, and then move on slowly and gradually as I get more experience and knowledge, and confidence, then I'll start throwing the big thing, because I need to replace my salary with as soon as possible. That's long-term goal. And then there's a texting and all that stuff comes into play. Yeah.
Yeah.
The tax a lot.
The taxes, they start now though, right? I mean, with all the cost segregation studies and your K1s, like that happens at the beginning, but it just builds more and more as you go.
Yeah, I think you made a point also. You ask when the property doesn't give you any more benefit, and is it time to sell, and that's kind of what we face, whether we had constraint with class Ds that were an hour and a half, and I had to go in middle of winter, going through mountains and snow to go fix a pipe that I didn't want to do it. And we sold that. We sold single family where the cash flow was not really here as the rates increased. And we sold that to 1031 into the fiveplex that is 15 minutes from where we are. And we have a whole new strategy with that. And now we want to have a lot of properties locally so we can justify hiring a property manager. So that's constraint in the whole equation that change the strategy and make you say, okay, now this portfolio we need to like shuffle the cards a little bit, and that's where we are.
It's a game. I love games.
Yeah.
It is a fun real life game. It's like real life Monopoly.
And that's what I figured out, because I have a family members, they have properties in New Jersey and New York. And that's what what the Michael says, they just moved their properties from New Jersey, New York, because they're older now, in their mid 60s and 70s, and because of the harsher, colder weather, they move all their all their props, sell it out and move their investments in Texas. So they don't want to stay over there, and you need to worry about they have to go and look for all these properties in colder, harsher weathers. And as you grow, as your life changes, circumstances changes, your priority change, and that's true. Might be in my older age, I don't want to stay in much more colder weather and try to, because I want more comfort and easy cash flow.
You see a lot of people who are older sell their properties, maybe sell rentals, and move them into triple net leases. And if you don't know, a triple net lease is, let's say you see those standalone Walgreens, and you see those and those buildings, those are normally owned by individuals or companies who own that. And then Walgreens has, let's say, 100-year lease on it. And they may have a 3% rent escalation clause in the lease. So is it going to go bananas and give you phenomenal returns? No. But if you're 80 years old and you just want that monthly check from a company like Walgreens, it's a great gig. So you see a lot of people who are older moving properties into these triple net leases. But that's something I would never tell for anyone on this call. I mean, don't do that. You can be more aggressive. You have time to recover, you know? Yeah, so that's, but yeah, to your point, it really just comes from those decisions are strategic that you will make over time as you learn more and your properties grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in after the call, if you can share Michael's number, that should be great, you know, to get in.
Oh yeah, you guys, yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course,
I'll put it
great.
in the
Okay,
chat right now.
love it. Jose, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. How are you?
Great. Hi.
All
You want to
right.
give us your update? Last but not least.
Yeah, so I reached out to I got in touch with the listing agent for that one property in Pennsylvania, and he said they did get a verbal offer, but he's willing to, he wants to give me a tour of that property. I did speak to Miss Stasia Estrad. She's from a local bank around the area. So she was filling me in with some documents and stuff that she needs to give me a better idea of the loan amount and the financial aspect of getting all my, I guess, eggs lined up to see what I can put as a down payment for a property.
Stacya's good. She's an investor. She's like very like to the
Yeah.
point. Do this. We like
Yeah.
Stacia.
Stacia, you're talking about Stacia.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it.
Yes. We spoke for like 20 minutes,
Nice.
and she was phenomenal. She was great. So
Yeah.
we spoke a lot on that, and we'll be, I guess, talking again soon once I gather some more information. And she was telling me that I have to, I guess, come up with like a financial statement and yada 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 with some W-2, not W-2s, but like I guess some tax returns over the past 3 years and the pro forma of the property that I'm interested in. And so, she was teaching me some good stuff, and happy that we connected, and looking forward to look at more properties.
Good job reaching out to her too.
Well,
Yeah.
so did you mention you were looking at property in the area?
Yes, it was a 7-unit in Swayersville, Pennsylvania, 256, 258, Hughes Street. And
We're actually going to share it at the end
showed it,
here.
yeah,
so
I
you
showed
can
it
see.
to them last week. It's
Yeah,
really nice.
something.
I'm sure you've looked.
Yeah.
so that was like eye candy. And then so I guess I'm gonna look at other properties too. So, but I just want to keep that property on the back burner in case the opportunity does open up.
Like we said, deals fall through all the time for a number of reasons, not at any fault of the property sometimes. So it's always good to have a backup offer and even go, meet the agent to walk around and develop that relationship too, and see the area in person.
Mm-hmm.
Are you from Jersey?
From New York. From New York, Long Island. Yes.
Sawyerville, it's very close to where we live.
I know. We should. Michael obviously was not on the call last week, so.
Yeah, that's fine. Not happy that you're on.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Right, Jose. Well, good. I'm so glad. Thank you guys, everyone. We just want to go around and have that update from everyone. It's so much about this is accountability. And as you said, just having someone push you forward. And Lindsay and I are going to bug all of you until you.
That PDF that we sent out this week, like it's for you guys, right? Like, I mean, we'd like to see the progress and your answers and everything too, but please, take 10 minutes, fill it out, and just give yourself a check-in too. I mean, this is all part of the action steps, right?
So that was emailed yesterday. We're going to go through one today that Junko sent, but we'll go ahead and wait on that because we're running a little low on time and I want to get through everything. But yes, please do that and send them to us if you can prior to next week. Okay, so securities-based line of credit. This is going to be really fast, but this is just really important. If you have a brokerage account and many financial institutions will essentially provide a securities-based line of credit, which is a line of credit using your brokerage account as collateral. And the reason why this is really important, and I first learned about it years ago, but one of my friends, early 2000s, sold his Apple stock to buy his primary residence, thinking that was his only way of getting capital. And needless to say, he would have over $10 million if had he not done that from that stock. But anyways, the reason he was the one who had told me about, could have just taken a line of credit against my brokerage account. I didn't need to sell the stock in order to get access to that capital. So a lot of people don't realize that that's an option. So let's say you have $500,000 in the S&P and you want to buy a rental property and you want 100 grand out of it. Most financial institutions will provide you with a line of credit. Again, it's called a security-based line of credit. And you just use your brokerage account as collateral. And normally they want it to stay at least like 50% of the value of the brokerage account. And every financial institution is different. Mine's lending at 6%. I mean, I've bought properties off on my credit line before and cash. And a lot of, by the way, like every hugely wealthy person does this, and they don't even use their own cash. They just take lines of credit out against and using their brokerage as
We've
collateral.
done that several times.
Yeah. So I bought a couple
And then
properties.
you pay it back? Or
Yeah, you pay monthly usually. I pay interest only, and it's paid monthly from my rental income, but it's still cash flows. So essentially, I bought a property without using any cash, just off the line of credit.
Yeah, and ours, you don't pay interest to the bank or Fidelity. You pay interest to yourself too, which is awesome. So I have one against our 401k.
So yeah,
okay, I've done that with 401k. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. So it just keep bearing in mind that that's an option to be able to do that and not sell. And Jose and I had the conversation this week, but I've had it with a number of people to try to utilize that as much as you can. Bear in mind that it's normally a variable rate interest. Variable interest rate is what I meant to say. So in this environment, I think everyone's pretty confident rates are coming down from here. So I think if the numbers work where their interest rates are now, you should be fine because they're going to very, very likely continue to drop over the next few years, but or next couple of years at least. So just keep that in mind that it is a variable interest rate. So if I would be having a different conversation if this was 2 years ago, but
ours is not. Ours is a flat interest rate. It's not variable. So I think it depends on the brokerage account, but.
Exactly. Yeah, I think yeah, exactly. So this is just talk to your financial institution and if you want any recommendations, I have some. I'm sure Lindsay does too. And but it's a good option. Don't sell your stock, especially if it's something that you feel is on its way up. Okay, and then module 6, I didn't want to go deep dive too much into it because I think everyone went through it already, but the topics were building your team, legal protection, basics of insurance, real estate professional status, and then creating your vision. Does anyone have any questions about those topics or feel like they want to deep dive into any of it?
Oh, sorry, I have a question. Sorry, I was just typing some notes, but I guess I submitted on the chat. I guess loan options. I saw these are, I guess, securities-based line of credit. What about taking out loans against your life insurance policy? And if we can just basically just mention more about like, I guess, 401k or 403b, like if you could draw, I guess, a loan from that or as like not collateral, but like as I don't know, as reserves. Is that possible? I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can take loans out of the 401 and 403, 457, whatever it is. Usually it's up to 50. Again, this depends. Like we have Fidelity and we have a Vanguard, but with Fidelity, it's up to 50% of what you have in your entire brokerage account. And then, yeah, it's interest that you pay back to yourself. And then you can only do one per year unless you pay off the loan and then, pay it back to yourself. And then you can do it the next year's. And we've done the three different properties with this. It's worked very, very, very well.
Yeah.
What was
Can that all be done? Can that all be done through one bank, or do I have to go
It's
to
just done
each
right through your
separate?
brokerage account. Like with us, you go to fidelity.com, you click on which account
Yeah.
you want, and you say take out loan, and there's usually like 3 different options. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's
Okay.
it's in your bank account within like 7 days.
Right.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
I don't think they ask you
Nope,
the
you don't.
purpose of.
Nope, they don't ask
So
you
it's-
about the property. They don't ask you nothing at all. It's
It's
a great
couple
option.
clicks away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Good. Good. All right. Thank you.
And then, yeah, you can borrow against like a whole life policy or variable policy if you have one of those, and you're.
Yeah,
you're
they call
funded
that
enough to
infinite
do it.
banking. I have my opinions about whole life. I don't have whole life. We have a term, but there are
Yeah.
people that are big proponents about whole life and infinite banking. So that is an option too.
Yeah, I have term life
It's
insurance.
a lot
so
of money up front to fund the whole life insurance. In my opinion, for what it's worth, at the
Yeah.
end, you can just buy a property and roll your money a lot faster. But
So
That's true.
there's no penalty to do that.
no, there's no penalty.
So I have like life insurance that I'm only getting 0.5% of, like crazy. I'm not really making anything.
Mm.
So probably I can do that using
That's
that
an option.
money too.
That's an option. Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anyone want to talk about insurance? I'm kidding. Okay. Well then if you have any other questions as you go through it, just, let us know. Obviously, you know where to find us. But I know we're coming up on time here, but I thought it might be nice to go through even the 7-unit, Jose, that he found just on a very high level, just, as you start looking for properties, just to look at like what we would be, how we look at them. You want to do that? Probably take 5 minutes. Yeah. All right.
Sorry guys, our oldest son is like slinking around in the background on the floor wearing his mummy pajamas and his Spider-Man gloves, and he's like shooting webs at me right now, and I keep saying go to bed, and he's not.
Right. Okay. All right. So this is one, Lindsay and Michael, obviously you can speak to the location. I can't really speak to that, but this is one that Jose had found that he just mentioned. He spoke to the agent that has a verbal offer, but we don't care about verbal offers. We don't even care about written offers because oftentimes those fall through. So don't ever be intimidated if you get someone who says that they've got an offer. Always say I'd like to submit as backup, even if they have an accepted offer. But coming down, this is a 7-unit. It's been on the market for 14 days. Generally, again, we look at this. If we see something's been on the market for 100+ days, as Michael said, we want to look at why that is. Is there something severely wrong with it, or is it terribly marketed, or what's the story? It's again a 7-unit. Coming up here, looking at we were really just looking at the pictures. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. Look, I can't really tell how many of the units have been renovated.
Somebody like us probably went in and renovated that nicely.
Yeah. So again, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more turnkey, like, these are very good even for beginners. Like you don't have to jump into the deep end. But yes, it does look like it's been nicely renovated. And so as you're looking at the property, the first question is, all right, what's the price? And in terms of the price per door, guys, at $625, what do you think about this area and that price?
I mean, it's already 1% roll, right? 7-unit, less than 700,000. So
89,000 a door.
Yeah. So I actually saw that listing one of the recent nights. I don't know how many. So obviously it looks that it has been renovated. I think there's 2 buildings, if I'm correct. One is
It looks like it.
nice,
yeah,
and then there's the second one. So I'll be interested to see all the units. Are they all renovated? So the rent is what, 6,700 for 7 units. So you're under $1,000 a unit.
I actually couldn't find the rental income on here. Jose, did you get that?
On Zillow, I see 67, I think.
No, that was.
Oh, it's on
It
Zillow.
was
Okay,
like
I'm gonna
eight.
build her up.
Yeah, I think it was like 884. I mean, calculated it to like 884 per unit. But
Which obviously some of these are 2 beds, so yeah, there's room to.
yeah, I
So
think there's room to
yes,
improve. But
6,700 for the 7 units. So okay, there's 11 bedrooms. So you have what? 4 units that have 2 beds. That's 8 plus 3, 11. Yeah. So I mean, in the shape like that, a 2-bedroom in that
Yeah,
location,
you can get more.
you can get more. You know, you should be able to get at least 1,200, if not more.
mhm.
So maybe there is a delta that is not being captured in the rent, which without really doing any capex,
Or the rest of the
you
units
might
look
be
like
able.
shit in another building, you know?
Oh yeah, or
But it
you
doesn't
have,
because that's the front end. It looks, pretty nice.
that's the one building, but I think there's another one, no,
Another
next
one.
door.
Mhm.
So it looks like it's in pretty good shape. You see that there's washer dryers in unit. We obviously don't know if they're in every unit, but washer dryers in unit is always great. Coming down you can see it's individually metered. That's great because then parents can pay their utilities and based on usage. I don't know anything about electrical panels. Michael, what do you think of this electrical panel?
No, I mean, it looks fairly new here. So I will say you
bet
probably have new electric. It looks like obviously at least one of the building, the outside, they have new siding. You probably have a new roof. The inside on most of the pictures, and I don't know if it represents all the units, but it has been renovated. So the first things that comes to my mind is your maintenance cost is gonna go down probably for the next few years. So that's a positive aspect. That water heater, it's probably not new, but that's okay. I think again 6,700 for 7 units, you're under the $1,000. You might be able to increase the rents to 1,200-1,300 for the 2 units.
I mean, it's a pretty good rent bump too. That's like 350.
A lot of people are very bad at marketing,
Yeah.
so they want to
Mhm.
fill up the units. And here you may have a delta of $200-300 that is not being captured. So it definitely, I saw that listing. It's visually appealing. So the only thing is sometimes when it's too nice, there's not much value add you can bring, but it seems that they may not be capturing the full potential rent, which is maybe where you can come in.
So in that
Yeah,
situation, it's really great. If you can get a property that's renovated and the value add is just rent bumps, it's way less risky.
Yeah. So I was talking to the one of not the listing agent, but there was another agent from Realtor.com that reached out to me. I think he wanted to connect with me to kind of like, I guess, make some business and source some commission with this property, which I'm always skeptical of people. I'm always like asking a lot of questions, but I know eventually I'll have to ask maybe a property manager around the area or another realtor who is familiar with the rent in the area in terms of if it's up to market, just to verify and double check if
That's why it's
there's
helpful to
potential to make
have
more.
when you choose an area, go out there, meet with property managers. So that's why you have the property manager in your back pocket up front.
Yeah.
So you find a property, talking to Junko earlier about being able to move more quickly. You find this, let's say you love it, you send it to your property manager, what can we get for these? And you can move so much more quickly.
Yeah. So I'd rather also need to link up with a good real estate agent who is very involved and knows what they're doing. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying to Janko, is you focus on the market and start to learn about it and start to figure out, okay, I'm telling you, I think the rents might be low for the area, and that might be the opportunity. The square footage, 6,200, so the units are fairly big. There are 800-900 square feet, so like 2 bedrooms, like, area. So Yersville is not bad. You should be able to get, if they're all like the second picture, like the kitchen there, it's like probably $1,300-1,400 rent.
Yeah.
And it's priced at $90-something thousand a unit right now. If you have
$89,000 a door.
if your units are $1,300 a month, they're probably worth, $125,000 per unit.
And right there, you can buy it and do a burr, within 6 months if that's the seasoning period for a bank. So,
and
yeah.
I saw the taxes are like fairly low. They're like $3,500. In Luzerne County, they don't reassess the taxes based on purchase. So you probably, if all the utilities are separated, I don't know, I would have to put everything on paper, but it's definitely something to look at. Now, the problem is, to me, it's appealing visually, so you're going to have a ton of people looking at it.
Yep.
And you're probably not going to, that thing is going to sell, I think.
Somebody's going to buy it with cash.
I don't know. Have you tried to underwrite it?
This property, no, I haven't spent the time to sit down and try to underwrite it. I don't have concrete information in terms of the rent roll, the T12 or the net operating expenses. I don't have that. I have to have a more in-depth conversation with the listing agent. But maybe, I could reach out, but I will reach out to him tomorrow and try to get that information from him. I've been these past
an exercise.
Get
these
the
past
info,
2 days.
underwrite it, put an offer in. I mean,
yeah,
those fall through all the time. It's definitely a good opportunity.
I think it's a great exercise for you to underwrite it. I mean, I know the area, so I will look at the pictures. I will look what kind of heating system there is. If it's electric baseboard, then the tenants are paying for it. Is there gas meter? Sometimes with the pictures, with Google Earth, you can see if you see the meters outside. So it gives you an idea before even you talk to the realtor. If you see the meters, you can see who is paying for what. Is there like only one water meter? Is there like 7 gas meters? So you can figure that out pretty quickly. So if all the utilities are separated, sometimes it's even in the listing, they tell you everything is separated. So then I can figure out the taxes. I think you can find them like on Prop Finder. The insurance, in this area, it's probably 600, 650 per unit for the insurance. So that billing is what, probably at that price, it's probably close to $5,000 when you buy it. So there's a lot of elements you can calculate fast. But the point I was trying to make is like if you study the market and look at rent comps, so look at apartments that look similar, how much they rent. I'm telling you, the unit with the island there, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like if you, Lauren, if you can click on it, for our area, it's not California standards, but for our area, it's pretty nice. It's like,
it's presentable and
outside,
has
it's nice.
amenities with the laundry inside, so it looks very appealing. It looks very appealing.
Reason, that unit, to me, if it's a 2-bedroom, it's definitely $1,400. And if you're renting it for $1,000, well, that's
there's room to grow and scale it.
Yeah,
that's immediate rent growth for you without doing anything.
Yeah.
So I would, in the underwriting, I will look at it. Okay, year 1, I'm getting let's say if it's $1,000, it's $1,000. But year 2, when the lease expires, you can come back to the tenant and say, hey, these are the comps for those rentals. You should be paying $1,400, maybe $1,500 this one. It's very nice to me. It's kind of like different design, a little bit industrial, not cookie cutter, I guess. And at least for our area, I don't know, for people from California, it might be.
I'm looking into something that cash flows on day 1, and also I don't have the time to really go in and gut everything, and something that's at least livable and that looks decent, that will last in terms of like the appliances and all that stuff, that without that will give me enough time to wait a couple of years before I have to renovate the property again. So
and that's that's the value that, again, I was talking about pictures, but you see rental listings, pictures are made from like an iPhone 1, blurry, And you can see beside the blur, you can see that maybe the house has some nice features, and with nice photography, you can get maybe $300 more and get way more leads because now it's presentable online. So you gotta capitalize on that. And I think that listed could be maybe the people, I don't know, they don't have the technology or whatever, and they rent it out at not market price. And that's, you can come to those properties where there's nothing to do. You just have to renew the lease at market price, and that's where you create the value. And just $100 extra, so let's say $1,200 dollars multiplied by a capex of what 10, let's say, at a capex of 10, it's what $1,200 valuation that you create. Okay, now if you increase by 300 and the cap rate is 6, you create value just by increasing you're in commercial land here, you're at 5+ units. So everything, pet fees, everything that are being added, it increased your NOI and increased the value of your building. And then 2 years down the road, you can come back to the bank. Maybe in 2 years, the rates are gonna drop from 7 to 5. You can cash out all your money, and now you have this property, you have no money in it, cash flow, couple, $2,000 a month, you own it, and you got all your money back that you put in the next year. That's how it works. And sometimes it doesn't have to go through being like we do big capex, but seeing the difference between the market value, I mean the market in the rent versus what we're offering here. So I don't know. I think this one is interesting, but I think it's gonna pretty fast.
I got you. I'll have to reach out to you tomorrow regarding. I would like to tour the property and at least have like a contractor or someone, or if you're available, that'd be nice to just at least do a walkthrough.
If you can schedule a tour next week, I'll go with you.
Okay, all right, that'd be great. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Keep it up, guys. This is like all part of the process. Does anyone else have anything else that they want to share or discuss? I know we're at time. All right. Well, everyone, great to see you. And just keep in touch. We're here. If you have anything you want to talk about.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
one.